Hey y'all, it's your girl Simone and welcome back to my channel. If y'all can see by the title, it's another story time. So before we get into this video, y'all already know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, give a girl a thumbs up, comment down below. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias, Instagram at Vivalayoshii, TikTok and Twitter at LifeWithSymone, and follow my business page at Erratic. So y'all, this is not like a part 4, but it is like kind of yesterday's story time or whatever. So it's about Tony. Remember I said I'm gonna get into that because y'all was gonna tell y'all something way different, but then I was like, let me just tell y'all because I literally just said yesterday I was gonna tell y'all today, so why play? But anyway, so I'm gonna tell y'all. So anyway, this was like some days later, like some time later, and me and China, like I said, I hang out with her often, whatever. So like we had went out to eat or whatever, and I drove this time. She got her car back. She had eventually got her car back like that next day. I think she got her car back or the next 2 days. I don't really know or care because I wasn't about to pay for it to get it out because that's not my car. Shit. I mean, not even like that. I could see if I told her to park there, then maybe I'll help her. Anyway, long story short, she got her car back. So we was going to where was we going? Oh yeah, we went out to eat like we usually do. We'd go out to eat or go to the mall or whatever like that. So we went out to eat and I had drove, so I was taking her back home or whatever. So when we got to her house, I was sitting in front of her house and we was just talking or whatever. It was nowhere to park because her street was horrible, but I'm sitting in front of her house just like sitting on the break and we just talking or whatever. So she's like, did you want to come upstairs? I could kick you for a little bit. So I'm like, nah, I'm tired, I'm gonna go home or whatever. So she's like, okay. So we just talking or whatever. So then she was all like saying something like if I wanted to go out, like if I still wanted to be outside, if I wanted to go somewhere. Mind you, at this time it's dark. It's probably like 8 or 9 o'clock. It wasn't super late. So I was like, I don't know, I think I'm gonna just go in the house. So then next thing you know, I'm talking. I don't know why I brung up Shantae, but I was just like, I just still can't get over how Shantae started acting weird when she seen them girls that she knew up in the club. So I'm talking shit or whatever. Why next thing you know, because her phone was ringing. My thing is, she could have said, hold on or something. I said she just looked down at her phone and didn't say shit. So I'm thinking like, okay, you're not gonna answer it. Next thing you know, she put her phone to her ear and she was like, hold on, it's her. While I'm talking shit about the girl, but I didn't really care anyway. So then she was talking to her and then she was like something and she ended up putting on speaker and she was like, Simone, that's you? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? So then she was like, I'm thinking she finna say something like, why'd you just call me weird or some shit? But she was just like, what y'all doing tonight? Like, y'all trying to go to a party or whatever? So I'm like, nah, I'm about to turn it in. I'm going home. Cause like I said, I would be in weird situations and with people and hanging out with people where it'd be like, I swear, I used to have people like my other friends or like my sister, they'd be like, why are you still hanging out with these people? And I'd be like, I don't know. And I swear, and they'd be like, stop. People would tell me to stop and I'll still keep doing it. Like, I don't know, what's something wrong with me. So, never mind. So, yeah, anyway. I was just like, no, like, you know, I just didn't feel like being bothered with her tonight. And plus, if we was going out, I would have had to go home and change my clothes and do all that other stuff. And I already knew me. If I didn't already have it planned out since earlier that day, I'm gonna go home and probably lay down and go to sleep. Anyway, we ended up, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go. So when she's saying that to me, mind you, at this whole time I'm texting Tony, like I was texting him all day and stuff like that. So when he asked me, like after I told her, like, no, I'm not gonna go, and I really like confirmed with myself, like, okay, I'm not going nowhere, I had text Tony back like, yeah, I'm about to go home or whatever, like, what you doing? So he was like, I want to see you real quick, like, can we hang out like for a little bit or whatever, or are you really trying to go in the house? So I was all like, yeah, like, I mean, it don't matter, but I was tired, but it's cool. So he's like, I could pull up on you. So again, like I said, I didn't like people knowing where I live at. So I'm like, you know what? No, like, we could meet somewhere or something. Like, I'm not by my house. We could meet somewhere. Even though China house wasn't that far. Well, it was kind of far. It was a different city, but it wasn't that far from my house. But I really just didn't want nobody pulling up to my house. So I told him we could meet somewhere. So he was like, okay, he actually wanted to go shoot his paintball gun in this little park in San Pedro. Mind you, I'm nowhere near San Pedro, but I don't want him to pull up to my house neither. So I'm like, all right, like, that's not too far from where I'm at. Like, I could pull up over there. So he like, all right, whatever, cool. So she got the car. I tell her, I'm like, okay, girl, well, I'm about to go. And I don't know why, like, I wouldn't tell people too much stuff. Like, so she like, okay, where you just about to go home? I'm like, yeah, even though I know I'm about to go meet up with somebody, which I should have told her because I'm about to go to a dark park with somebody. And that would have just been right to tell somebody that, but I didn't. Anyway, so I ended up leaving and he told me the park he was going to. I knew the park he was going to. It's in San Pedro, y'all, and it's like, I can't think of the name of the park and I don't feel like looking it up, but the park, how it is, at the top of the park part, like where the park is at, you could look down over the wall and you see water. Like, you'll see water like crashing against the wall, like in the rocks and stuff. So it's not some water that you get inside of, because unless you really want to, you got like a unalive mission or something like that, then yeah, you'll get in that water. But other than that, no. And it's so far down, like the water, when you look over. So I'm knowing what park you talking about, because I'm like, my mom used to take us to that park a lot. And then plus, when I was in 5th grade, we had a field trip there or something like that. So yeah, and it had like this little cliff part, and people used to go sit over there. But it was kind of dangerous, because some people would like jump, I'm assuming, or fall. You know, it was kind of a little dangerous over there. So I don't know why I still went to this park late nights. Anyway, I pulled up to the park, and I pulled up to the parking lot part, and I'm just sitting there. So I told him like I'm here or whatever. So he ended up pulling up, like, because he was like, oh, he not right there. So he ended up pulling up by my car, and he was like, yeah, just turn your car off and hop in the car with me. So I'm like, where are we going? Because I'm thinking like, I thought you went to shoot your paintball gun. It's late, and you know, it's nighttime. I'm thinking you want to shoot it right here. Oh yeah, and at that park, it got like the lighthouse thingy. I think it has this lighthouse or a house, whatever. Anyway, it does not matter. So he was like, no, I want to go by the water. Y'all, so when he said that, I'm thinking like he means by that cliff that's dangerous and we could possibly fall into the water. So I'm like, why are we getting in the car? Because mind y'all, where we at, you could literally just walk right there. It's nowhere you could drive right there. So I'm like, you want to go by the water? Like, you know, I'm like, okay, well, can we just walk right there? Like, it's literally right there. So he like, no, I want to go by the water, like down there by the water. He's like, it's a trail we could go. Like, it's a little trail or whatever. So I'm thinking like, what? Because mind you, when you look over, you don't see no type of trail. Like, this sounds really weird. But you know what I did? Instead of hopping in my car and saying, you know what, I'm gonna go home, I'm tired, I hopped in his car. Dumb, right? So I hop in the car with him, right? So I hop in the car, and he like, all right, whatever. So we drove to like this little part or whatever, and we crossed the street. It's dark as fuck over there, no lights. We cross the street, and we go through this little like trees and all type of weird ass shit, and we start walking down this little trail. And then you could tell that the trail just stops at a certain point, because that's where they want you to stop, like, you know, look at the scenery, go back up. He's like, no, we could keep walking. So mind y'all, when we first started walking, he told me to walk in front of him, and I'm like, why would I walk in front of you? I ain't never been over here before. So I'm like, you could walk in front of me, because I was already scared. I'm like, oh, it's scary as hell over here. It's dark, I don't see nothing, I don't see nobody, like, it's weird. So he like, no, it's cool, I come do this all the time. He did hit the paintball thing at a stop sign or whatever. So he's like, it's cool, I do this all the time or whatever. This the best time to come, because nobody's outside to like tell him, like call 12 and all that other stuff. So I'm like, okay. So he telling me like when we starting to go down, because I'm like, wow, I never knew like it was a little walkway right here. This look creepy as hell. So he like, yeah, it's cool, go, like you could go. So because I was standing there, and I'm like, okay, like wait for him to lead the way. He like, no, you could go. So I'm like, I don't even know where we're going, why would I go? He's like, you know, it's cool, it's just a trail, like it's not hard, I'll just tell you when to stop. Y'all, what did I do? I went down that trail. I started walking in front of him. But I'm like nervous. So I'm like walking, but I'm like looking back at him too and talking to him, because I'm just like, this is so weird. Like, why are you taking me down here? So for some reason, as we're talking, something told me to start asking him questions. Like, I just wanted to know a little bit more about him, but it didn't make any difference, because nobody, one, knew where I was. Two, I didn't have a, did I have an iPhone at that point? You know what? Did I? I think I did have an iPhone, but I wasn't sharing no location with nobody. Was that a thing? And three, if me knowing your information now, what is that gonna help me if he throw me in that water? Well, I'm gonna be telling the fishes and shit like, oh, y'all know this was this big guy named Tony, he threw me over, and he said he's from, like, you know, like what I'm supposed to do. So I'm talking to him. I don't know how we got on like gangbanging and stuff. So I asked him, because I think I probably just straight out asked him like, do you gangbang? So he's like, gangbang, like why would you ask me about gangbanging? Like that's like a random question to ask. And I'm just thinking like, no, it's not. But anyway, so he like, yeah, why would you ask me about that? So I'm like, I'm just curious. Like, I just want to know, do you bang or whatever? Like, I just want to know more about you, like what type of stuff you're into and stuff. So he was like, well, you know, everybody grew up, it's LA, everybody grew up in a hood or whatever, but like, you know, I'm grown, I'm a grown man. Because mind y'all, like I said, he was older than, like way older than me. He like, I'm a grown man, I'm on a different level, you know, I just hang out with my motorcycle clique, I work, take care of my kids, because he had 2 kids. He like, I take care of my kids, and I'm just, you know, I do what I gotta do. I just do what I gotta do. You know, he just kept saying that. He's like, yeah, I'm not into the little boy stuff, into the streets. Is that what you into? Like, you want somebody that's into the streets and like out here fighting a war against each other and all this. Like, he really sound really, man. And I'm just like, oh no, like that's not, you know, what I'm into. I was just asking a question. Mind you, as we're still walking, I stopped because, you know, like I said, the trails stop at a certain point, so I stopped. So he like, keep walking, we're gonna go down by the water. Y'all, I'm like, but the trail ended here. Like, you know, if we slip, like one slip, I could fall into the water. It's no way you'll be able to save me. These currents is like real hard I'm gonna smash against a rock, something. Like, I can't swim. I don't know if you could swim. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm like, I really don't feel comfortable going down. He like, let's just go down a little closer, which makes no sense. It was literally nothing right there that he could have like did the paintball at, because I really didn't understand why we was going down. So I'm like, I start walking a little bit, and something in my right mind, because I start trying to go on my phone to text somebody to tell them like, hey, I'm in some weird shit right now, but my phone didn't have no signal. So at that point, that's when I stopped, and I was like, you go, because I'm kind of scared. And I was like, and I can't swim, like, you know, and I just don't want to get too close. So then he was like, all right, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna just go down. And y'all, because he's telling me like, I'm gonna go down and you follow me then, like, you just follow me, like, you good, you're not gonna fall. So he's walking in front of me, and just so happened we seen like a man. It was a man like coming that way, like from the opposite way. I don't know where the hell this man came from, like behind a rock or some shit. He come, like, he start getting up and coming that way. So he like, so when I seen the man, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, we should go. It's probably time for us to go. And he's like, yeah, it's time to go. So I'm like, ooh, thank the Lord, saved by a crackhead. Because y'all, I don't know where he was leading me. Like, I really don't know where we was going and where was the point of this. So he like, all right, yeah, you scary anyway. And he kept like making little jokes like, what if you fell in? Like, he just kept saying like a lot of weird little stuff, and then he'll laugh about it, and then I'll be like, oh, stop playing, because I don't play like that. And he'll be like that's what he was, when I was walking in front of him, he kept doing. That's another reason why I had told him like, you go first, because he kept like doing like that, like, you know, when you do like that, like on somebody, like they walking and you act like you pushing them, and it's like you playing a little bit too much. Like, Tony, chill out. I thought you was grown. Like, remember? So anyway, when we seen the little crackhead, he was not little, but when we seen the old dude or whatever, we end up going back up or whatever. And when we went up, he was just like, all right, like, so dang, it was really nice talking to you. Like, you really cool and all this other stuff. And he was like, do you want to try to like pop it or whatever? So I'm like, yeah. So, you know, I did it a few times, because it's certain words I'm not saying, and it's because YouTube flag words, because it be. So anyway, we up there at the top, we talking, he was just saying how cool I was, stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you cool too, a little bit off seem like, but yeah, you cool or whatever. So he like, all right, like, I'm gonna take you back to your car. So mind y'all, when we was in the car from the first night, when I told y'all we hopped in the car to him to go to a motorcycle club, I told him about his driving. I don't like people that drive crazy. Like I said, I've been in a car accident before, like a deadly car accident, so I really don't like that type of shit. And I told him about it. So when we got in the car with him again, because I told him, even when he picked me up from the park area, I told him like, don't drive too crazy, like I don't like that. Why we hop in the car, this nigga start doing donuts. I'm like, hey, like, you should have did this before I got in the car. Like, I mean, when I'm not in the car, don't do this with me in the car. So he like, oh, you scared? So he like really like swinging that like he really swinging that car. Like, he'll do a donut, then do a reverse donut. And I felt like the car was just doing so much crazy shit, and I was just so scared. I'm like, oh my God, this nigga's annoying as fuck. Because it's like, if somebody tell you, I understand whatever, but if somebody tell you they don't like something, and plus like the street we own, cars are coming. Oh, my bad, y'all. Plus, the street we own, cars is coming down, like, could just come at any time. And it's dark right here. Why the fuck are you doing this stupid shit, bitch? So, anyway, he ended up taking me back to my car or whatever. And he was just like, yeah, you real cool or whatever. Like, do you want to go grab something to eat somewhere from, like, IHOP, Denny's? That's the only type of shit open. Like, you know. So, I was like, well, no, that wasn't the only type of shit open. But we was there for a cool minute. So, it probably was super late at this point. So, I'm like, nah, I'm going to just go home. Like, I'm ready to go. Because I was just like, he's kind of doing weird stuff, which should have been a red flag to me. You know, like the whole taking me down to the water part. Like, that made no sense. That should have been a red flag. Him doing the donuts when he knew I was scared should have been a red flag. Him fake pushing me in the water should have been, pushing me down the hill should have been a red flag. You know, all these things should have been red flags, but they was purple, I guess. They was orange. It's not, and it's crazy because it's not like I was even like attracted to dude. It was more like a friendship type thing for me at that point. Like, I didn't really see him like that. Like, I just thought like, oh, this is somebody cool to hang out with. And he wasn't like on me like that. Like, at this point, like, he wasn't. So it was just cool. But anyway, so I ended up going home. And he was texting me. I let him know I made it home safe. He texted me like, yeah, you was cool. All this other stuff we talking. He like, we need to hang out, actually have a real day and date. Like, I want to spend a whole day with you. So I'm like, okay. So he like, what you doing tomorrow? So I'm like, I don't have no plans. And he like, all right, well, tomorrow let's spend the whole day together. So I'm like, okay. He like, yeah, so just hit me up when you wake up and we'll, you know, we're going to have a whole day. So I'm like, all right. He like, yeah. you gonna be with me for the day. So I'm like, all right, cool, like that works. So when I woke up, I ended up hitting him up and I told him like, you know, I'm up or whatever, I'm about to start getting dressed and getting ready or whatever. So he like, all right, cool. And he asked me for my address. So I'm like, I could actually meet you at where you're at, and you know, and then hop in the car with you. Why am I hopping in the car with this man after he did this dumb shit? I don't know. You know, like I said, my brain back then was just really, I don't know, don't judge me, I was young. So anyway, I told him like, I could just hop in the car with you. I'm like, because something, I made up some reason, I forgot what was the reason why I said he couldn't come to my house and pick me up, but he was like, okay, that's fine, like just let me know when you ready to go and I get the address. So I get ready. I just get regular because I didn't know what we was doing. So I ended up putting on like some shorts, some sandals, and like a shirt, probably a crop top, because I used to, all my shirts was crop tops back then. I really used to wear shorts and crop tops like damn near every day in the summertime. So anyway, that's probably what I had on, and probably had a sweater just in case it got cold later. So I got dressed and I ended up hitting him up and I'm like, hey, hey, like, I'm ready. I'm in my car. I'm getting ready to go. Only reason why I'm laughing is because if you're from LA, then at this part, you probably gonna laugh too. So I asked him like, what's your address, y'all? Y'all know usually I don't be saying streets and stuff, but this is just, like I said, if you're from LA, it's just, I have to. Like, I just can't. Like, it's just, y'all. So I'm like, what's your address, right? So he was like, okay, you can pull up over here. I'm at my mama house. Because he told me he had a place somewhere else. I think he said he lived in like, I forgot where. But like, he said that he'd be at his mama house most of the time. So he like, you can pull up to my mama house. And he told me his mama house, right? So I don't remember the exact like number street. And I wouldn't give it no way. But he was like, it's on the other street. He was like, it's between Hoover and Fig. Y'all, so when he said this, I'm like, between Hoover and Fig, okay, okay, y'all, like, I was sitting there and I was like, not a gangbanger, huh? So anyway, I'm like, okay, cool, all right, I'm about to go pull up. So I start driving over there. Y'all already know what hood is in between those streets. I mean, it could be a number of different hoods in between that street, but okay, I pulled up to the, yeah, so I pulled up over there and I'm like, oh, this is the Hoovers or whatever. This is interesting, real interesting, right? So I pull up, I'm just thinking like, maybe his mom just live over here. His mom just live over here. This man said he ain't into that street, like he ain't gangbanging. Active ass street. I'm in the middle of the hood. We pull up to the corner, right? I pull up to the corner because I was scared. I'm not about to pull any further down. I'm like, oh hell no, they crazy. Like, I'm not bad. Active street, people in the middle of the street, gang banging, big, all banging on cars that pass by. Yeah, but bitch, please, I'm pulling up at the first corner right here, and it was like low-key by a fire hydrant, but I didn't care at this point because I'm like, it's either get banged on, drive down the street, or get my car towed and not be able to come back to it. But I rather, you know, yeah, no. So, cause my car at that time, it was really tinted up, and it was like, yeah, and I'm just thinking like, well, when he comes out here, they'll see that I'm with him, and then I can move my car safely or whatever. I was just very, very, very scared. So I told him, I'm like, I'm here, I'm at the corner. So he was like, oh, pull down a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, are you right there? Like, I see a lot of people. He's like, yeah, I'm outside. He's like, it's a spot right here. So I pulled down, they own my car, big gang banging. And I'm just thinking like, why he didn't just tell these people that it's me? Like, I literally just said, I'm coming right here, big gang banging on the car, doing the most, right? I'm afraid. I pull up, I'm just thinking like, he's not from this hood. He's not from this hood, y'all. Like, because he said he does not gangbang. He said this. This must be his little cousins or something. You know, this is mama house. I hop out the car. They own me. Where you from? I'm, hands up. I don't bang. I ain't from nowhere, y'all. Leave me alone. So I hop out the car or whatever. And he like, yeah, hop in my car. Mind y'all, he's not even standing outside. He's in his car. So he was like, yeah. He brought down what. He was like, y'all leave her alone. Leave her alone. Y'all come get in the car. Come get in the car. So I get in the car. I'm sweating bricks, y'all. I felt like I took a massive shit on myself. Like, I was really just scared as fuck because I'm like, no, this man don't got me up over here. Woo! Not here. But anyway, so I hop in the car and I'm like, oh, I ain't know. You know, mind you, when he told me the address, it literally slipped my mind until I started getting closer. And I said, oh, this is, yeah. So I'm like, this where you, when you said you grew up in a hood, this the hood you grew up in? Like, or your mama just moved here? Like, so he like, no, that's where I grew up with. Like, you know, I grew up over here. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like, but you don't bang, right? You're not from here? He like, And he just started laughing. He shook his head. He's like, so yeah, you hungry? Have you ate yet today? So I'm like, no, I haven't ate yet. And I was just like looking around. He like, you don't gotta be nervous. You with me, you good. So I'm like, okay, all right, we cool, right? He like, yeah, you cool, you with me, right? So we pull off, y'all. When we pull off, he started playing big gangbang music and big, I don't know where this came from. He went inside his little middle thing, pulled out an orange flag. I mean, orange flag, an orange rag. And this nigga doing the most with the rag and throwing up gang signs. I was like, at that very moment, I knew I fucked up. I knew I fucked up. Like, I was like, oh, my heart's beating fast. And I'm just like, I do not need to be in this. This ain't the car I need to be up in, because what? Y'all literally beef with everybody. No. I was like, oh. So I was like, I thought, y'all, at this point, I'm like, this ain't that same. Well, he was weird. I'm like, Mr. Tony, you bang? Like, I'm like, you real affiliated, you know? And he's just like, man, you scared? Like, is you scared? You good with me? Like, you're good with me. So I'm like, I know you said that, but I'm just making sure. He's like, yeah, you good. And he just kept laughing. So we ended up going to the east side and we went to Taco Mama. Ugh, nasty. I don't know. People like Taco Mama. I don't. Maybe because I be getting bean and cheese burritos from places and shit. And you can't get that from everywhere. But did I get that or did I get a taco? Because that would be kind of weird to me to really get a bean. You know, I do shit like that. But anyway, I don't know. I forgot what I got, but I didn't like it. But anyway, I got a wet burrito and it was nasty. I didn't like the sauce they put on it. So anyway, we get our food. We sitting over there. Mind y'all, when he got out the car, because he was like, you want to get out the car with me? I'm like, no, what the fuck? I don't know. Nobody see me with you. But I don't. He got out the car. When he got out the car, mind y'all, why he put this damn rag around his neck? I was like, this nigga is bold. Oh my God, what the fuck is going on today? I was like, I need to make up an excuse. I'm over here trying to think, what the fuck can I say to get out this motherfucking car? Because I cannot. Like, this is insane. So he ended up coming back. We get the food. He was sitting right there. Mind y'all, it's a lot of niggas over there. And he like, oh, it's cool. I know them. They cool or whatever. Like, it's cool. I know them. So I'm like, oh, okay. Because, you know, we in a whole different hood. And I don't know which hoods is cool with which hood. But I just know that, like, they hood don't really get along with a lot of people. So I'm like, So anyway, we sitting down. We in the car. We eating. He was all like, oh, let's go pull up on my bro. We about to pull up on my bro real quick. So I'm like, is your bro a gangbanger? And he like, why you keep asking that? I'm like, I just want to know. Like, I just want to know. He's like, nah, the bro, you know, like, gang banger, like a member, like the bro's the bro. Like, he's cool. Like, we just gonna go pull up at his house and we gonna eat over there. Mind y'all, we already done ate. Like, we already damn near ate the food or whatever. But he was like, yeah, we're gonna just chill over there for a little cool minute. Like, you with me for the day? Remember I told you, like, you with me, you good. So I'm like, all right. So we start driving. We drive to this house. We on a whole different side of town now. Now I know this hood that we in, this ain't where he should be at. So I'm just like, oh, you like, how long your bro been living over here? And he like, we good. Like, we good. He been living over here for a cool minute. Like, we good over here. The homies always be at his house. Like, it's cool. And I'm just thinking like, whew. He was like, yeah, he live here with his girl and stuff. Like, it's good. Like, you ain't got nothing to worry about. So I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, yeah, she cool. Like, she like you. So we end up parking and we go to the door and they open the door. Y'all, why just so happened I knew the girl. Like, I knew the girl he was with. And I'm like, dang. Oh my God. Like, I said, I didn't want people to know. But like, anyway, so we walk in the house. And when we walk in the house, the brother was looking like the brother. This ain't his real brother. I don't know why I keep calling him his brother. This man was looking like he was looking at me like confused. Like, who is that? Like, you know, he was like, oh, she cool. That's Symone. Like, she real cool or whatever. Like, she cool. He was like, oh, okay. Like, you don't bang her nothing like that? I'm like, no. I didn't even know why he kept asking. Everybody asking me this. So we sitting down. I'm just sitting down like this. Uncomfortable. And like the girl, like I said hi to her. She ended up leaving out. So we sitting down. I'm sitting down in the house talking. And he like, yeah. He was like, something he said. And I was just like, he's sitting down and he was like, he said something to him and then he like walked off. Like, they both walked off. And I noticed he kept looking at me from the kitchen and I'm on my phone like this. I'm texting, I don't know who the hell I was texting, but I'm telling him like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, I was just like, because I'm like, okay, this is getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Remember I told you I was a paranoid person, y'all? I was real paranoid. So I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I guess he could tell. So he was like, all right, we finna go to the other homie house. We finna go shoot some dice and all type of shit. Like, you cool? Like, you cool with that? So I'm like, well, actually, I actually wanted to, my homegirl wanted to like link with me or whatever, like, and go eat. Like, I'm just talking, stumble over words. He like, well, we just gonna go shoot dice for a little bit. It's cool. Like, you with me for the day. Like, anyway, like, if you want to go with her, it's cool. But, like, we just gonna go real quick. Like, I'll take you back to your car afterwards. So I'm like, okay. So we hop in the car. And the other boy, he follows us. So I'm like, where's this other house at, y'all? We go back to his hood. Not where my car was at, though. We was, like, kind of not even close by my car. We go over there. We go to this house. I'm like, oh, hell no. Just by the way that everybody outside, I'm like, I could sit in the car or whatever. I'm not really tripping. And he was like, nah, you can come in the house. It's cool. Like, you good. So I'm like, all right. So I hop out the car. We standing on a porch or whatever. Some niggas like shooting dice and stuff. He like, yeah, I'm about to get into this. And the boy that we left his house, he over there shooting dice or whatever. He just kept looking at me so weird. And I'm like, why is he looking at me like that? So he was like, yeah, let's go inside the house. So we go inside the house. It's a whole bunch of gangbang girls, gangbang niggas, everybody, everywhere. I'm just sweating. I'm like, this is not right. Like, not like it's not right, but it's just like, why am I here, y'all? So I go in the house, I'm sitting there. And he's like, yeah, you could sit down. He ended up sitting on the couch with me and he talking to me and stuff. He was like, yeah, so you good? Like, I'm telling you could feel comfortable. Like, we family over here. Like, it seemed like you ain't never been around he said his hood before. Like, you ain't never been around before. I said, oh, no. Like, not like that. No offense to anybody. I'm like, oh, no. Like, I never have. Like, you know, and I told him, like, I went to, like, this school. Like, you know, he like, oh, okay, I see why now. Like, I see. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not like, you know, but, you know, I just never been around like y'all before. So he was just like, yeah, no, you good over here, we all good. Like, people are trying to make it seem like, you know, we this or that, but like, we real cool people. Like, it ain't like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, he like, so you good, you comfortable? I'm like, yeah, like, I'm just telling my homegirl we just gonna be here for a minute. I'm lying just to, you know, remind him about this homegirl lie. So he like, yeah, you good, we just gonna shoot dice for a little bit. So then he was like something like, oh, hold on, I gotta go see about something real quick, but you could sit right here, you could stay right here. So he leave out and go to the kitchen. I'm on my phone, and one girl, she asked me, she's like, oh, what's your name? So I'm like, I told her my name. She's like, okay, I'm baby such and such. Like, oh, I'm lady blah blah blah, whatever, like her name was. So I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. And I'm all talking polite, and she just look at me like, whatever. So they talking, they having some crazy ass conversations that I'm not gonna repeat. But next thing you know, Tony come back and he sat at a couch across from me, right? So he just smiling at me. Like, he's smiling at me. So I'm thinking he flirting with me, right? So I look over at Tony and I'm smiling back. I just smile back and I look down at my phone like, okay, awkward. So he's smiling. He just staring at me, smiling. Like, he would not stop smiling, to where at this point I'm like, okay, this man ain't flirting. He kind of weird. Y'all, why next thing you know, he get on his phone, he starts texting. Mind y'all, I'm scrolling through Instagram. So I see like his name pop up, right? I go to the message and he texts me and said, I know exactly who you are. So I'm just like, what the fuck this nigga mean by this? So I'm like, LOL, like, what you mean? You know I'm texting, but I'm like, LOL, what you mean? So he was like, you be with the blanks, like he said. And I was just like, I know people from, like I said, I went to school with these people. Like, I know people from there, like, you know. Like what the fuck? So I'm over here, I'm sweating because I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Because mind you, at this point, me and Tony did not follow each other on Instagram or nothing. So I'm just thinking like, what's going on? So then next thing you know, he texts me and he was like, UKP little cousin. And I was like, or he was like, UKP little cousin or sister. That's what he said to me. And I was just like, y'all, at this point I was like, oh my god, I'm sweating. So when he said that, I looked at my phone and I froze, and I just looked up at him and he was just smiling at me. So at this point I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Remember I told y'all when I started talking to Enemy how I thought, because it was like an issue with his homeboy, my cousin, I thought he was trying to kidnap me for ransom. Not ransom, but like, I don't know what the fuck I thought. But y'all, so anyway, when he said that, I just started sweating bad. Mind y'all, like the hood, whatever, they hoods didn't get along. I would just say that. So when he said that, I'm just like, this nigga, at what point did he know who, like, how do you know this? Like, this is so weird. It's so weird that he noticed. And where do you notice? And then at what point did you notice? It clearly wasn't at takeover, but like, at what point did you realize this, y'all? But I ended up finding out. He told me, and I'm gonna tell y'all that. But yeah, so I'm sitting there. I didn't even reply back because, like I said, I looked up at him and I was just like, so much shit going through my head right now. I'm like, this nigga got me in the middle of the hood at this hood house, and now he's saying some weird shit right now. Like, for one, you've told me you wasn't a gangbanger. Like, oh my god. So I'm just like, so he texts me, y'all, because I never text back because I looked at him and I started getting nervous. So I just started scrolling back on Instagram because I wanted to run out that house, but I'm like, ooh, what if they just start popping me in the back? Like, pop, pop, pop. or something. I don't know. I really didn't know what the intentions was. I really didn't understand what was going on right now. So I didn't say that. I just started nervously scrolling through Instagram, sweating. Like, I'm sweating right now telling y'all. No, for real. It's hot. This ring light hot. So then he ended up texting me back and was all like, if they knew who you was in this house, it would be over for you, LOL. Y'all. When I seen that message, I was like, my heart beating fast as fuck. And I was just like, well, y'all, I started low-key having a mini panic attack right there. Like, I started breathing real heavy because I'm thinking like, what the fuck did I get myself into? I'm thinking like, damn, I be doing some stupid shit. And I'm really in my head mad at myself like, bitch, you need to know people before you just link with them. What the fuck is wrong with you? So I'm texting him like, and I'm breathing. So the girl next to me, she was like, you good? Like, you need some water or something? So I'm like, oh, no, I'm okay. I'm good. So I text him back and I said, oh, can you please not do this? Please. I'm like, please. I'm begging this man to text me. I'm like, you please not do this. Like, you please not do this. Please just take me back to my car. Please. Like, I'm begging this man to text message. He texts back and I was like laughing at myself. I wouldn't do you like that. I really like you. I was just saying. Y'all, when I say I was sitting there like, oh, I'm ready to go. You playing too many freaking games. Like, what game are you playing right now? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, he really said, laughing at myself, I would never do no shit like that. I was just letting you know. So I was sitting there like, I don't know if I should be relieved or what. Because, like, what was your reason for saying that? Like, why you didn't say this in the car? Like, why you didn't say this in the car to me? Like, why? I really don't understand. Like, I really don't get it at all. Like, I don't get it at all. I was so confused. So next thing you know, I'm sitting there, I'm nervous as hell, and finally he was all like, come outside with me real quick. So I go outside, get up, y'all, I get up, so just walk. I could barely walk because I'm nervous, noodle legs and all that. I go outside and he on the porch and he like talked to his homeboy, and his homeboy like asked him like, give me some more money, man, I lost all my money, I'm about to win my shit back. So he like, man, here, whatever. So we go down the stoops and he was just like, you got scared as fuck when I told you that, huh? And I was just like, yeah, like, how do you know? Like, you know, it's no reason for me to lie and say that's not true, because it's like, clearly he know what the fuck he talking about. So I'm like, how do you know? Like, how do you know that? Like, what made you say that? So he's like, oh, how I know that you be with the, and said it loud. So I'm like, can you be quiet? Like, bro, you loud as hell. So he started laughing, like he think it's funny. He's like, nah, you good, like, you good. So I'm like, could we go in the car? Like, can you take me back to my car? So he's like, yeah, come on, let's get in the car. So we hop in the car, and I was like, how do you know like so much information about me? Like, that's so weird. Like, how do you know? He was like, oh, you want to know? He's like, I see, I forgot, I didn't even tell you how I knew. Like, I didn't tell you nothing. So I'm like, yeah, you didn't tell me. Mind y'all, he never drove off. We was just sitting in the car. He like, yeah, I never even told you how I knew. So he's like, you really thought that I would have said some shit like that out loud up in there about you? He's like, I would never do that. Like, I know that you're not a gangbanger affiliate. Like, it's not your fault. Like, you know, you nobody can help who they know or related to. Like, I would never do no shit like that. So I'm like, why did you say that though? And I was like, but how do you know all of this information about me? So he like, yeah, so after I had met you that night, he's like, remember I asked you to send me pictures? He's like, when you sent me pictures, I had asked my bro, do he know you? Like, I had just asked him, like, do he know who you are or whatever? So he was like, no, he didn't know you. So he was like, but I guess he must have showed somebody the picture. I don't know who he showed. He said he showed some girl or whatever. I guess a girl he was talking to. He was like, he showed her the picture, and she was all like, oh, she be with such and such, because she followed this girl that was from that hood that I used to hang out with, and she seen me on her Instagram. So she like, oh, she be on such and such. She's like, yeah, so I seen your Instagram, and then I seen like, you know, I just was going through your page, but I didn't want to just follow you off top because you didn't give me your Instagram. But I had already knew. So I'm like, what? Why? I'm like, well, why when I kept asking you, like, you know, why you lie? He's like, because I knew if I would have told you where I was from, you would never linked with me. Like, I just knew you wouldn't have linked with me. He was like, and you real cool, like, you cool as fuck. So I just didn't tell you that, because if I told you, I knew I would never seen you again. I'm just like, yeah, you fucking right. But in my head, I'm just like, because I'm still in front of these people's house. I don't want to like offend this man. And he be like, okay, y'all, she be with the, and I be like, you know. So I'm just sitting here, I'm like, yeah, and I'm sweating. Y'all, I'm sweating so bad to where he knows. He's like, why are you sweating? It's hot here. You want me to cut the AC on? So I'm like, no, we could just get back to my car though. Like, you know, we can get back to my car. Mind y'all, at this point, it's like late. Like, even though I told this story like so fast, but it's like, it's late in the day at this point. The sun is down. So I'm like, we could get back to my car or whatever. So he was just like, okay, like, you ready to go back to your car? So I'm like, yeah, we could we could go back. We could go back to yeah, we could go back. So he's like, I don't want you to think like I'm a weird nigga or nothing like that. Like, it's not nothing like that. Like, I promise you, I would never do no shit like that. Like, I promise you. So I'm like, it's fine. Like, you know, I'm like, you know, you good. So he like, you seem real nervous and scared. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, I promise you, I wouldn't do nothing like that. Like, I have a daughter. Nigga, your daughter ain't my age. And he just like, yeah, I have a daughter. I would never do nothing like that. Like, you know, some. So I'm like, but why did you say that? He was like, I just want to, it's just funny when you get scared. He was like, the other day when I fake pushed you off the cliff and you got scared, like, you do a look on your face and it's just real funny when you get nervous and scared. Like, I don't know, it's just funny. He's like, you should see like your eyes get real big. And I'm just like, bro, this nigga's weird. Like, I was really in my head like, this nigga will never see my face again. I was really so confused because I'm like, why do you get a thrill out of scaring somebody? Like, this nigga is a weirdo. So he was like, yeah, we finna leave in a little bit though. I just gotta make sure my bro is good and don't lose all his money because sis gonna be mad as hell at me. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, yeah, but let's go back in the house because you don't want to be sitting in the car right here. No way. So let's go back in the house for a little bit and then we're gonna leave. He's like, I promise you, I'm gonna take you back to your car. We're gonna leave. So I'm like, all right, cool. We go back in the house. We sitting there. He goes sit right next to me this time. And we talking. We just having a little conversation. They having his conversation. So then, why next thing you know, this nigga gonna say, hey, y'all know she. And then they stop and they like, what? And he's like, y'all know she real cool. Like, I just met her at Sunday Fun Day. Y'all, when he said this, I was just like, when he said she, my heart just started beating fast. This point, I was ready to go because I'm like, oh, this nigga is weird. So, y'all, I took it upon myself to get up and I was like, I'm going to go outside and get some fresh air. And he just started laughing hard as fuck and walked behind me. He's like, I was just kidding. Like, I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, can you take me home, though? Like, I'm starting to feel sick and all this. Like, I really was just scared. I probably looked like I was finna cry. I don't know. But however I looked, it made him really start feeling bad. Because he was like, all right, I'm going to take you home. Like, I'm about to take you to your car. Because I was like, this nigga, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So anyway, so he made sure his homeboy was straight and I was in the car. I'm like, man, this shit is crazy. Like, oh, hell no. So I ended up hopping in the car and he took me back to my car or whatever. So he's like, do you want me to follow you home to make sure you safe? And he was just smiling at me. I said, no, the fuck? Because, bitch, no. And so I'm like, no, it's cool. So y'all, I really didn't trust him, no way. And when I pulled off, he low-key, because he said he was about to go back to that house. So I'm going a whole different direction. He was low-key following the same way, but I already had in my mind, I'm like, I'm not about to go home right now. Like, I'm about to hop on the freeway, go down to 110, go back up to 110, probably go down to 405, go back. Like, I'm not about to go home right now because you're weird. Like, you're very fucking weird. And I just don't understand what was your point. Like, you get a thrill out of scaring people. What next? You gonna climb through my window and pretend you're like, to scare me, like when I'm sleeping at night? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, I don't understand. It's just very weird. It was very giving weirdo. So eventually I ended up going back home, but like I played it off like when I was, like I said, I was just driving around for like a long ass time, not even nowhere near my house. And I ended up calling him and I was just like, what you doing? Because mind you, like I said, he followed me for like a good 3 lights and he ended up turning off. But still, I was just so paranoid. I'm like, I don't know if he following me still or, well, I was still so paranoid, but I drove for like a good hour before I went home. And I wasn't even an hour away from home. I was probably like not that far. Yeah. So anyway, I ended up calling him and it was loud in his background. He like, oh, what's up? Like, you want to come back and kick it? I was like, no, I was just making sure you was good. And he like, oh yeah, I'm back over here. I'm just shooting dice and shit like that. Like, I'm good or whatever. Like, I'll see you next time. The nerve. And I was just like, okay. All right, sure. And yeah, y'all. And you know what's the crazy part about it? Why? Why that wasn't the last time we seen each other? Why that wasn't the last time we seen each other? And it's funny as fuck because, y'all, this is why it's so funny because and it wasn't my fault neither though. Like, I have more crazy stories with him because like I said, he just did so much weird stuff. And it's funny because when I was telling my sister the story, because she like didn't live out here, so she didn't really know too much about like different hoods and stuff like that. Like, she knew about gangbangers and stuff, but she didn't know like too much about too much. So when I was telling her the story, I was like, girl, he was a big Hoover. She's like a vacuum cleaner, bitch. And I was like, no, he was just a big nigga. He was weird. Because why did he do this? But it's just funny. Like, the rest of the stories is crazy because he literally pointed that paintball gun at my homegirl face and was like, ah, nigga was weird. You would think, but no. on that was not my fault at all, because she knew and she wanted to link with them. That was on her. Like, she was like, oh, let's go link. I'm good everywhere. It's crazy, y'all, because I remember I seen a post on Twitter recently, and it was like linking with a nigga from, you know, that hood. They was like, that's crazy as fuck. Like, who does it? It was like, that's crazy. I was really scared for my life, y'all. Y'all don't understand how scared I was. And it's just so weird that I used to be in a lot of weird situations, and I'll hop back up in. I'm like, oops, hopped in, hopped out, hot seat, and I'll hop right back in it. But yeah, that's the end of this story, you guys. I don't know which story, because I'm gonna give y'all another story time tomorrow. But I don't know what story I'm gonna give you guys tomorrow, though. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that's it for this story. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. What would y'all do in this situation? I also want to ask because it's a lot of people who be like, I know I ain't the only one who done some dumb shit and then turned around and do some dumb shit again. Because a lot of people be acting like they be like, I did some dumb shit once, and bitch, fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, I never let it be happening. But it be like, we all done been dumb and young before. Because I swear, I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know. But anyway, that was it for this story. Let me know if y'all ever been dumb and did some dumb repeated shit multiple times, or you had so many red flags about a person and still continue to see that person again because your ass was just like, girl, what the fuck is wrong with you? But yeah, let me know. That was it for this story. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, give your girl a thumbs up, comment down below, follow me on socials, heart to heart. We love each other over here, and peace out.